In mid-September to mid-October, I invited Bob Moog and his lady to Switzerland to show and to help me with the Polymoog and the Micromoog, but also to be participating in the production and some of the recording sessions of my first solo album, yes. Which I called you know.
Look at these great pictures. Now we have the story of many people at the show have been bringing you that album to sign.
I need to have a little bit of that Aquafina.
Okay. There you are. Aquafina sponsorship.
I thought Aquafina was actually going to be the Dasani
Pepsi company, one is the Coke company, yes.
Yeah. The Dasani is a product of Nestle in Switzerland. And I've got stories about that.
One of the things I think we should discuss too is the way you like to blend types of music. For example, Brazilian with your own music. You're combining things which we now call world music. Long before Peter Gabriel was doing such things and Paul Simon, you were bringing in musicians from other countries and mixing these things like Brazilian rhythms. It's fantastic. And it really becomes an element, especially on that album, of what makes it so unique, so special.
Yes, and I was introduced as a player also with Brazilian music already in the 60s. And in 1972, I was engaged as the musical director of a ballet, Brazilian ballet with 18 ladies dancers, to go to Japan and to do a 3-month tour of Japan in all the cities possible and so on, in some theaters and clubs and so on, and to do the whole, and I was engaged as a musical director because when the audition was gone, and the audition took place in Hamburg, by the way, and they realized I could play not only the Brazilian tunes that, you know, the hits and so you know, but they wanted something else, and they realized I could also understand all the kind of spiritual and rhythmical technologies, but by hand, of rhythms having come first and foremost from Africa. Because I've got to tell you that, of course, we were in 72. Now in 1967, I was in, I had been able to go 53 times to Africa already. I was not as a musician per se, but I was doing another job for the, you know, I was engaged by the Swiss government and so on. And I had some 3 offices, you know, and I was working with some very, very known people at the time, maybe unknown from all of you, but you know, we're not going to talk about that now.
Speaking of names, one of the names I really want to bring up, and it's not normal, even at the NAMM show, to hear of Nadia Boulanger.
Oh yeah.
But this is such an important name. Aaron Copland, Leonard Bernstein, Philip Glass, Burt Bacharach, and you. Many people have studied with her, and I'm very curious about that because it's very rare that a teacher becomes so famous, but these are very important people who have done great things under a teacher.
Yeah, but I was 10, between the age of 10 and 11, and I was studying actually classical piano at the Conservatory of Music in Lausanne with a professor called Jean-Jacques Jaton, and every month there used to be Nadia Boulanger coming from Paris as she was the you know, the queen of counterpoint, harmony and counterpoint, and she was doing what we call now master lectures and so on.
Master class, yeah.
And my teacher, so fortunately during my lessons, every time I was doing a wrong note, you know, doing my little lessons and so on, he used to come behind me and with his key, and you know, every time. And then I was playing, and he was going like that, you know, and so one day I decided that's it. So I went out and I went to take a refuge in one place just about like this, maybe a bit smaller, of course. And there was two grand pianos, and there was this old lady all in black talking about Bach and counterpoint and so on. And I came from the back door, so nobody noticed me. She didn't notice me.
So snuck in. You weren't supposed to do that.
And then I hid myself under the piano because that's what I could. You know, and then she asked a question about counterpoint, and nobody really could give the right question. So what I did is I came out of under the piano, or one of the grand piano, and I went and played something I had composed when I was 5 o'clock. I mean, 5 years of age. In C minor, you know. And she said, "Mon petit, did you do that?" And so from then on, I was invited to her lectures, and she gave me some private lessons for several months after that, and she really took me under her wings. And even in Paris, I met her again, and that was really a very, very good gift, you know, that I received, because it was not a lesson, it was never a lesson. She was explaining to me things that, I don't know, it's the gelling between the two sides of the brain with the soul and so on, and you just take a couple of notes, or one note, two notes, three notes, then you change, and your counterpoint and your desire, intrinsic desire for harmony and melody at the same time is developing and gradually gelling, you know. And over the years, it's of course, it helped me do better and better, you know.
I would like to mention one more name, because I know you spent some good time with Bill Bruford, and I think he's one of those interesting musicians. One of my friends described him as not a drummer, but a musician. And I think that's why you two work together so well.
Yeah, and not only that, but I mean, we were playing, we were living, actually, at the time, when we re-met in 1983, we were both living in Surrey, in Surrey Hill, in the Pitch Hill, and he was living about 1.5 miles from me, and I was living, actually my house, I had just purchased just a year before. I was next door, my next door neighbor was Eric Clapton, you know, and I just had to go to my little lake to go and jam, you know, with him and some other guys, you know, George Harrison and Bill Collins and so on. But then we met, Bill and I, we met at the post office in Cranley.
And this is out in the countryside, you're not in London, this is...
It's about 55 miles, 60 miles from Piccadilly, you know. And we met at Cranley on a Tuesday afternoon, man. Wow. And I said, oh, Patrick, because we had played on Chris Choir.
Fish Out of Water, right?
Fish Out of Water. Oh man, what an encyclopedia.
You mentioned John Hassel, who played with you as well too. John Hassel, who played too.
Yeah.
These are again some great people. You have interaction with so many cool musicians, you know.
And we decided to actually immediately said,